Study says music can be used as a natural painkiller. I saw this post on Instagram and, of course, it piqued my interest. I asked Grok AI about this, and here's what it showed me. It pulls up this 2014 study from Harvard. They had participants choose personally meaningful songs to listen to, or they had them listen to just random music, or just had them listen to nothing. And then they had them do a heat pain test. What did they find? Well, they found that those listening to personally meaningful music had significantly reduced pain and unpleasantness. The suggestion for what causes this is that music likely takes over reward pathways, which could potentially overlap with analgesic pathways, which are pathways that reduce pain. But what is most interesting is when they asked the participants how did the music affect them, they reported music as a powerful distractor that evokes strong emotions. They say things like, "Music has gotten me through a lot of hard times." Let's take a moment to think about that. How many of us can relate to that? I mean, how common of an experience is that nowadays? That's the reason why when we read things like music can be a natural painkiller, we actually believe it. We don't even think this is a fake study. And it's true. Now, think about those songs that evoke those strong, heart-wrenching emotions. Think about the music that lifts you up and makes you fight. When you think about this, hopefully you're realizing how powerful music actually is. This study is just the tip of the iceberg of the powers of music. There are songs that remind people of hard times that can make your heart ache. And there are songs that remind people of good times where you might feel a strong sense of nostalgia. There are songs that get you hyped up and make you hit a new PR in the gym. It's apparent that music has the power to move people, both literally and figuratively. The way I really learned how music impacts people past a superficial level was through one of my experiences playing the violin. I used to play the violin at the hospital as a volunteer. I was in the cancer center, and that's an inherently sad place. And I would go to each floor and play some calming, romantic music. The first few times I did it, I didn't really know what kind of impact I was having on people. Some people would look at me, mostly surprised or confused why there was an instrument being played at all, but they wouldn't say anything to me. But despite those uncertain beginnings, I stuck with it, and I'm very glad I stuck with it because eventually people did start to come up to me and talk to me, and I learned a lot about how music moves people and makes them feel. All my life up to that point, I used music to distract myself, but I never knew that music actually had healing powers, not just distracting powers. People would come up to me, whether they were smiling or crying, and say things like, "You have no idea how grateful I am that you're here," or "Today was a sad day, but you made it so much better." And I don't say these at all to toot my own horn. That's not the point. I just want to show that music has an amazing potential to sway moods and to reduce negative feelings, not just physically, but also emotionally. And personally, I used to use music to distract myself, to silence my negative emotions or drown them out with songs that were playing so loudly that I'd feel deaf after taking my headphones off. But what I should have done, and what I do now, is use music to lift my spirits, to enhance my experiences, or to just pass the time. I've learned that music has these capabilities through my experience playing at the hospital and through my personal evolving relationship with music. And now I know almost everyone understands the influence music can have. Almost everyone knows that music has great power that should not be underestimated. Furthering my relationship with music, I now perform in a quartet with 3 of my friends, and we play music at weddings and important events. When people ask for a specific song to be played when they walk down the aisle, we make sure that that song is perfect, because that song will be a core part of their memory of arguably one of the biggest days of their life. We know music has the power to move them in that moment, so we take it super seriously. And my point here is that music can make people laugh, it can make them cry, and it can make them go crazy. So yes, it seems like music has some pain-killing capabilities, but that's just beginning to understand the complex powers of music. It can do so much more than just distract you from some pain. Now, that being said, given my experience with music throughout my life, I'd recommend not using it so much as a distraction. And that's especially true when you're going through difficult times. I personally would listen to my favorite songs, hoping that would make the situation better. But it actually sometimes would ruin the song for me because when you look back and when you think back at the song, it brings back those difficult emotions. And that happened to me firsthand. And it took a while for me to stop associating those songs with hard times. So I'd recommend using music to uplift you as a healing method, as therapeutic, as opposed to just taking you away from the difficulties at hand. So, as always, I recommend you stay mindful and enjoy music mindfully. And I'll see you all in the next episode. Baby,